1. The Anglin brothers and Frank Morris. Imagine standing on the edge of the cold, dark waters of San Francisco Bay, looking back at the jagged rocks of Alcatraz. In June 1962, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, Clarence and John, did the unthinkable by vanishing from what was considered the world's most inescapable fortress. Their plan was a masterpiece of patience and ingenuity. Over several months, they used sharpened spoons and a makeshift drill powered by a vacuum cleaner motor to slowly chip away at the salt-damaged concrete around the air vents in their cells. To hide their progress, they crafted realistic dummy heads out of soap, toilet paper, and real human hair from the prison barbershop, placing them in their beds to fool guards during nighttime head counts. Once the holes were large enough, they crawled through the utility corridors to the roof and descended a drain pipe. At the shoreline, they inflated a raft made from over 50 stolen rubber raincoats, bonded together with heat from steam pipes. They plunged into the treacherous currents and were never seen again. While the FBI officially concluded they drowned, the mystery remains because no bodies were ever recovered, and occasional leads suggest they might have reached land. It changed the legacy of Alcatraz forever, proving that even the tightest security has a human or structural flaw waiting to be exploited. 2. Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán redefined the concept of a high-security prison break by going underground, literally. In 2015, the world was stunned when the leader of the Sinaloa cartel vanished from the Altiplano Federal Penitentiary, Mexico's most secure facility. While guards monitored him via CCTV, El Chapo stepped into his cell's shower area, a blind spot for the cameras, and dropped through a small hole in the floor. This wasn't a desperate crawl through dirt. It was a sophisticated engineering marvel. His associates had spent nearly a year constructing a ventilated, lighted tunnel over a mile long, leading directly to a nearby construction site. The tunnel featured a modified motorcycle on a rail system, allowing him to be whisked away at high speed. The sheer scale of the operation suggested incredible precision and, likely, high-level corruption within the prison system. Even though he was eventually recaptured, this escape turned him into a near-mythical figure and exposed massive vulnerabilities in modern maximum security protocols. It proved that with enough money and external resources, even a concrete fortress can be bypassed from beneath. 3. Richard Lee McNair. Richard Lee McNair's escape in 2006 is a masterclass in audacity and psychological trickery. Unlike others who dug tunnels or used brute force, McNair used the prison's own logistics against it. While serving time at a federal penitentiary in Louisiana, he was assigned to work in a shop repairing old mailbags. He meticulously constructed a shipping pod out of a wooden pallet, equipped it with a breathing tube, and hid himself inside a stack of outgoing mail. He was shrink-wrapped and loaded onto a truck by unsuspecting workers. Once the truck left the prison gates and stopped at a nearby warehouse, McNair simply cut his way out of the bags and walked away. The most legendary part of his story happened just hours later. A police officer stopped him jogging near railroad tracks, matching the description of the escapee. Despite having no ID and being covered in dust, McNair remained incredibly calm, claiming he was just a jogger named Robert Jones. He even joked with the officer, who eventually let him go with a warning to be careful. McNair stayed on the run for over a year, sending taunting postcards to the prison and the police. His escape highlighted a terrifying reality. Sometimes, the most effective tool for breaking out of a high-security facility isn't a weapon or a tool, but the ability to act like you belong on the outside. 4. The Texas 7. In December 2000, 7 dangerous inmates at the John B. Connolly unit in Texas executed a breakout that relied on cold-blooded precision and a divide-and-conquer strategy. Led by George Rivas, the group chose a time when prison staff numbers were at their lowest. They used a series of calculated distractions to overpower civilian employees and guards one by one, binding and gagging them in a back room. To maintain control, they stole the employees' clothing and used the internal phones to impersonate supervisors, ensuring no alarms were raised as they moved through the facility. They eventually made their way to the prison's maintenance tower, where they convinced the guards to open the gate by pretending to be technicians. After stealing a massive cache of weapons and a getaway truck, they disappeared into the Texas night. Unlike many escapes that end quickly, the Texas Seven remained at large for weeks, committing a series of robberies, including a tragic shootout that claimed the life of a police officer. Their run finally ended in a massive manhunt in Colorado, but the escape remains a haunting reminder of how easily a group of determined individuals can exploit routine and trust within a maximum security environment. 5. Pascal Payet. Pascal Payet is a name that sounds like it belongs in an action movie, mainly because he managed to escape from high-security French prisons not once, but 3 times, all using hijacked helicopters. His first daring flight was in 2001, when he organized a team to swoop down into the courtyard of Luynes prison. While guards watched in disbelief from the towers, Payet climbed aboard the hovering aircraft and disappeared. But Payet wasn't just interested in his own freedom. 2 years later, while still a fugitive, he organized another helicopter raid on the same exact prison to help 3 of his former associates escape. His most famous break occurred in 2007 at Grasse prison. 4 masked men hijacked a helicopter and its pilot from a nearby airport, forcing him to land on the prison's roof. Within minutes, they used industrial grinders to cut through security doors, grabbed Payet, and flew off toward the coast. The entire operation took less than 10 minutes. Payet's escapes forced European prisons to install anti-helicopter netting over their courtyards and roofs. His story is a wild example of how high security usually focuses on walls and fences, often forgetting to look up at the sky. 6. The Great Escape, Stalag Luft 3. The Great Escape from Stalag Luft 3 during World War II remains the most ambitious and organized prison break in history. Unlike other escapes motivated by personal freedom, this was a massive military operation carried out by Allied prisoners of war in Nazi-occupied Germany. Led by Roger Bushell, the plan involved digging 3 deep tunnels, codenamed Tom, Dick, and Harry, simultaneously. The prisoners knew the Germans were listening for digging sounds, so they dug 30 feet straight down before heading 300 feet toward the nearby forest. To hide the tons of bright yellow sand they excavated, prisoners known as penguins carried it in secret pouches inside their trousers, subtly scattering it across the camp gardens. On the night of March 24, 1944, 76 men managed to crawl through Harry. The operation was incredibly sophisticated, featuring a wooden rail system with trolleys to move dirt and a ventilation pump made from Klim milk tins. However, when the first man emerged, he realized the tunnel had fallen short of the tree line, leaving them exposed to guard towers. Despite this, dozens slipped away before a sentry finally spotted the 77th man. While the escape forced the Germans to divert massive resources to a nationwide manhunt, its ending was tragic. Only 3 men reached safety, and 50 of the recaptured officers were executed on Hitler's direct orders. It stands as a testament to the human spirit and the extreme lengths soldiers will go to regain their liberty.